Casey Saunders. I am an administrative assistant here for the class department, College of Liberal Arts and Social Sciences. I'm also a bass player. I'm married, so I'm a husband, a father, so I have children, and that's about it.
Okay, and where are you from?
I'm born and raised right here in Ada, Oklahoma.
Okay. So what does your daily routine look like?
For like just a regular work day?
Here, yeah.
Okay. Get up at 6:30, get ready, come to work. Basically, work, it seems like it's kind of mundane and every day is the same, but not really. There's lots of different changes. It depends on where we are in the semester, what my daily routine is. Usually have to attend a meeting with the dean and the other administrative assistants, and we kind of talk about the day and plan out what we need to do. Like I said, depends on where we are in the semester. Either have to make alterations to the schedule, enter the schedule, move faculty, move classrooms. Every now and then I'll help, put stuff together in the Vogt art gallery, or move art around, or catalog art. So it just kind of depends on the needs of the day. I don't really have a set routine other than I go to lunch at noon and I go home at 5. But everything else is kind of up in the air.
You have a particular favorite thing that you do here?
Anything that involves working with the faculty is my favorite, because I really like our faculty and I like our students. So anything that involves me interacting, helping put together the Vogt art gallery, or helping a faculty member doing something, those are my favorite things to do.
Okay. And you said that you were a bass player. What made you interested in this instrument?
Well, it wasn't that I knew what the instrument even was before I started playing it. I was at a party in 8th grade, and all my friends were forming a rock band, and I was late to the gathering, I guess, and they said, well, you can play bass, which was not the instrument anyone else wanted to play. And I said, okay, well, what is that? And they said, well, it's like a guitar, but it has fewer strings, so it'll be easy for you. And I was like, okay. And so I got a bass and figured out that it was not a guitar, because you have to understand, when I was in 8th grade, Eddie Van Halen was the greatest thing on the planet, and Van Halen was a big band, real popular with my friends and myself. And so it was not that, it was the different instrument. And through time, I grew to really like it. I really enjoyed it. And I switched schools because Ada High School did not have a jazz band at the time, and Bing High School had a jazz band. So I switched out to Bing, and I thought, if I could go to school and one of my classes is me playing bass, that's a win. So I got interested in school because I played bass, and I had to make good grades to continue to play bass, so that motivated me to actually care about Algebra 1 and things like that. And so I was watching MTV one day, and Sting was doing a video for Every Breath You Take was the big hit that they had. And in the video, he plays a double bass. And I thought, well, I need to get one of those, because I figured out that was just like an acoustic version of the electric bass. So the electric bass is kind of a hybrid between the double bass and the electric guitar. And so I thought, well, I need to get me one of those, and got one of those, and then started playing in the orchestra. Got a bow and started playing in the orchestra. And, my love of music just kind of grew from that. So it was more of an accident than an intentional thing. But it really took over my life, and that's, that was a big part of my life for much of my life. And, but like I said, it was an accident. It was one of those just kind of happy accidents.
Mm-hmm. And moving on, I hear you have experience in the military. What branch did you serve in?
I served in the United States Navy, in the submarine force, because I saw Hunt for Red October and thought that was cool. And so when I joined the Navy, I wanted to be in the submarines. And I wanted to be the guy that used the charts. And in the Navy, that guy is called the quartermaster. And so my job in the Navy, they call you rate, and that's your job. Like if you're a sonar tech, then you work with sonar, you're a sonar tech. If you're radio, you're a radio man. If you're an engineer, you're either a machinist mate or an engine man or something like that. So your job has a certain designation in the military, and mine was a quartermaster. And what I did was I charted the course of the submarine, and which was a lot of fun. And sometimes I would dive and drive, is what they call, because submarines both go up and down and, side to side. And so I'd have that job, or I'd be navigating.
Okay. And do you have any advice for anyone who's like just, graduating or fixing to start their life and what path to go?
Not to be afraid of things you may be asked to do. And what I mean by that is your first job may not be your ideal job, but every experience, you gain something from it. And where you start now is not necessarily where you're going to end up, particularly at this time. My parents lived in an era where the job you got out of college was pretty much going to be the job you had for the rest of your life, and that's not really so much the case now. Certainly wasn't in my life. But to not be afraid of, doing something different. It's easy, and I had this when I was in college. I'm going to do this, and I had it all planned out. I'm going to do this for this long and this for this long. Life laughs at that. They always said, if you want to make God laugh, make a plan. I think John Lennon said that, speaking of the Beatles. But, to not be afraid of what's offered to you, and to, try to look at it with a positive attitude and see what you can gain from it, what experience you can gain, what skills you can gain, and work towards, your eventual goal, yes, but to not be afraid of experiences and to not be afraid of being asked to do things that you originally did not intend to do.
Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
Not that I can think of. Just be open to new things, because like I said, at 12, I never would have thought I would have been playing bass, or being involved in music in any way. I didn't play in band when I was in middle school. And it was just, like I said, a happy accident, and then it became a passion of mine. And it was not something I had planned. It was not something that, I ever thought about doing. And, but then it became very important to me. And so, kind of keep yourself open to new experiences and keep yourself open to different directions that your life may take you. That'd be my only advice.
Well, thank you for your time, Casey.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.